Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Good to see you all. Good evening. And why are there so many of you here already? I think everybody's pretty excited tonight. I'm certainly excited. We got a very special stream coming up here shortly. As of course you can tell by the title, we have some special guests joining us, and we're to be doing something that we've never, quite frankly, done before. It's rare that anyone beyond our tasting panel gets to name officially whiskey to be bottled by the Scotch Malt Whisky Society. I have some pretty interesting guests who will be doing that tonight. But first of all, I just want to thank you all for joining. If you don't have a dram poured yet, please do so. It's 9 o'clock Eastern time, practically Friday. I think let's get in this together and see what's going on. So let me just jump right into it first. I'm going to bring on our first guest. And just to start, first, this is first time on the channel. And quite frankly, I think he's kind of just getting into Scotch whiskey. At least I've been really, really pushing him hard. He's one of the most knowledgeable spirits experts I've ever met, though really most of his experience is tied to agave-based spirits. He heads up probably the most coveted, if you will, tequila bar in the US, at least from my experience, La Cava del Tequila, which is actually in Epcot in Orlando. And his name is Javier. Javier, let me pull you on. Welcome.
Hey, Ben.
How you doing, man?
Good, and you?
Good, doing good. So everybody meet Javier. Javier, thank you for joining us.
Hi, everyone.
Javier and I met about a year ago, I want to say, and I've been really pushing the Scotch whiskey on you, Javier, and he's been pushing the mezcal on me big time. And I think both of us are just lapping it up. You know, It's been amazing. So Javier is here, as I mentioned. I thought it was just when the first time we met Javier last year, we did a whiskey tasting together. Of course, it was on Zoom, the peak lockdown time, and I was just so blown away by your perspective on the whiskeys was so unique because you're a spirits expert, but mostly focused on tequila and mezcal. And I just thought you had a very fresh perspective on the whiskey. That what you were describing, I think connecting the flavors and aromas to your own personal upbringing and experience, of course, with the spirit, was just something I think is really good for whiskey. And so I love it. I appreciate you being here. And anything you want to say to everybody? Are you nervous? How are you feeling?
No, good. Everything good. I'm still drinking some mezcal before we go into whiskey. So, yes.
That's what?
Some reposado mezcal, which is weird because usually mezcal is just joven or a blanco.
Yeah.
But I'm drinking some ilegal reposado, so I'm ready to switch.
Okay.
To Scotch. So.
Well, I'm grateful for your influence because I've really been enjoying the mezcales lately, and I really kind of attribute that to you. But let's bring on our second guest of the evening. So he is a man of many talents. He's a well-known actor, a comedian, a singer, I believe a television host. He is a Canadian hotel yogi, as I understand. And he's starring in the upcoming blockbuster, The Matrix 4 Resurrection. And he is particularly triggered this evening, Neil Patrick Harris.
And his hair was perfect.
Welcome. Great intro, Neil.
Thank you, Ben. If only this chair swiveled, it would have been so much more impressive.
I saw you backstage in this sort of grayed out icon. I was like, what is he doing? Is he talking to somebody?
I was just trying to get the set design. You know, I thought I was going to be wider in the screen.
Yeah, me
but
too.
It's a thin strip. So
Do you want to go wide? We can go wide.
I'm trying to make my wood more impressive.
Okay.
By a fireplace, I'm trying to make my wood look good.
So Neil, how you doing?
I'm good, buddy. Thank you so much for asking me to be a part of this.
Oh, sure. I would imagine life's been pretty busy for you lately, obviously with that trailer dropping last week. Have you been running around promoting, and how's that been?
Not too much matrixing at the moment, to be honest. That's going to start in earnest in the next couple months. It comes out on December 22nd, so it's sort of a, Matrix is always thought of as a holiday film, and this one is no different.
Yeah.
So we'll be doing a lot more in November and December. Our kids, my husband and I have two almost 11-year-old kids, and they started school about a week and a half ago. Hurricane Ida came through the East Coast and dumped rain into the townhouse, the brownstone that we're selling in Harlem, and for some unknown reason, just flooded the entire place, like really badly. So all of the floors have to be sanded and redone. All of the ceilings have to be carved out and replaced. Every piece of furniture has to be removed from
Whoa.
6 stories. So we're in a hotel for the time being, trying to find a place to stay for the better part of the next year. So if you have a couch or a guest room, or you know anyone that has an extra brownstone lying around in New York, well, just let me know.
Yeah, guys, comment in the
Post
chat
something
if
in the
you have a
comments.
couch. If you have a couch, do comment, please.
I say all that just to explain sort of where I am, and for pity, but also to say I'm extra appreciative for being able to do this, because it allows me to drink and not think about all the things that I'm supposed to be doing right now.
Well, I did, we met, well, first of all, let's just say this first. You and Javier go back quite some time, right? I mean, you've been good friends for years, as I understand. And so I met the two of you together about a year ago. And I mean, do you guys know each? I'm trying to think. Was it because I understand, Neil, you go to Disney quite a bit, and is that how you met, or do you guys know each other previously?
We met through Disney. I'm a huge, lifelong Disney theme park fan. Every year, I do something, participate in something called the Candlelight Processional at the beginning of the holiday season, or I get to tell the story of the birth of baby Jesus thrice nightly at near the American Adventure. And I would stop by the Mexico Pavilion, which I love, which our family loves, and I'd grab a margarita, as you do, because you're drinking around the world, and you start in Mexico. By the time you get to the American Adventure, you're wasted. And so then when you see my show, you're very forgiving. But I was backstage, and Javier, this was back when pre-Trump, when Twitter was kind of normalized, and Javier just tweeted at me and said, "Hey, if you ever wanted to come and have a drink, a tequila drink, there's one waiting for you at the bar." And I happened to be backstage, just scrolling through, as you do between shows, and I took him up on it. I walked over there the next day, I think, or that night, and I was Javier was kind of surprised that I was there, and we struck up a conversation, and he and his wife Maria have been so lovely to my husband, myself, our kids. Every year we go, and he had mezcal tastings for us, and like it was just so wonderful. And since then we've become good friends. We've gone to Oaxaca together and learned about agave, and our kids play with each other, and he's one of the great guys. Disney's very lucky to have him.
Well, you guys will make a great team, tonight. And so the three of us did a whiskey tasting on Zoom, as I mentioned before we brought you on, Neil, peak lockdown, and that was the great escape, I think, for me, was Zoom whiskey tastings, which we still do quite often. But I was just, I talked a bit about Javier. I think what he brought to the table was so interesting, having the spirits background, having different perspectives, different culture that you don't really get to hear about in Scotch whiskey when it comes to just the appreciation side. You were hilarious, because you were looking at some of the names of the bottles and you were coming up with better ones on the spot. And I was like, and you were telling stories about these whiskeys. And I realized, and I said to you, I think at the time, all right, well, this guy's really an artist. And it kind of hit me because you're so humble and just normal. I guess maybe you don't expect that. But then after, seeing you work and just seeing your mind work was a real privilege. So no pressure, but tonight,
at least no one's watching. So that's good.
Well, all right, guys, let's get into it. I think everybody needs a whiskey. I mean, I certainly do. Tonight, what we'll be doing is, as I mentioned, we have 3 whiskeys. Each of us have the 3. These are sample bottles that were filled from casks that are aging in our warehouse in Scotland. Now, traditionally, the Scotch Malt Whisky Society takes a pretty unique approach to bottling whiskey. We acquire different casks from all different distilleries from Scotland and really the rest of the world now. We bring them back to our warehouse, and every week what we call our tasting panel, which is made up of our staff and some guest appearances from distillers and real Scotch whiskey experts, will come together and score and judge different whiskey samples and just see if they're ready to be bottled. Once they're ready to be bottled for our members, they'll then go through and really assess them. Just have it personal experience with the whiskey, knows them, taste them. They'll try adding some water to really reduce the strength and unlock some flavors. And I'll walk you guys through that. And then they'll write a tasting note just describing their own personal experience. And then they'll cap that off with giving it a name or a title, as someone would call it. I call it a name. And the name typically will just summarize their experience, or maybe it's a little different. But there are no boundaries to what you can come up with the exception that when it comes to importing Scotch into the U.S., we typically want to stay away from using names and incorporate like food elements. I think I was telling you earlier backstage, if you put the word ketchup in the name, some people might think that there's ketchup in the bottle, and that's not good. So maybe try to avoid that. But other than that, make it totally personal. No one else has tasted these whiskeys besides our distillery, our spirits manager. And so just have fun with it. Get lost in it. You're not going to be judged. No, there's no right or wrong answers. It just is what it is. So are you guys
just to be clear? There's no ketchup in any of these bottles.
Well, I cannot confirm nor deny. One of these is pretty red. I mean, I poured this one. It's a very dark color. Now, all three of these are Scotch from different parts of Scotland, and all different styles. We'll start off with a couple that are not peated, which is produces the smoky flavor, and then the third one is going to be smoky. So I'll tell you guys the order we're going to put these in is. I know there are a lot of different numbers here, and I'm going to put up for you guys watching here on the stream. But the first one we'll start with is it's a 14-year-old. And actually what I'll do, why don't I just start this off right now? I'll put this up. So it's going to be, our cask is 800301. It says, at the very top, it says sample number 23, 14 years. We'll start with that one. And I think it's going to start lighter and then sort of saturate your palate. There you go. That is the hand-filled bottle, unofficial, with a very legible signature on the bottom.
Yes, it is.
What is that? I don't know. So,
Neil, did you cheat it and taste this before this?
Yeah, have you tasted this?
No.
You son of a bitch, you have, haven't you?
Oh, I only smelled them though.
Not you. I'm saying Ben. You've already tasted this.
first of all, no, I haven't tasted this.
You're lying to everyone right now.
I'm not. I am not lying. I have a side whiskey. I poured this side. Now I did pour the. Listen, I just for the integrity.
I'm sorry, I cursed.
Yeah. For the integrity of the. Are you calling my bluff? My acting. For the integrity of the exercise, I poured them into glasses to take a nice photo for Instagram, but I did not taste them. So let's get into it.
I don't believe you for a minute.
What? No, why is your bottle half full? What?
Why is your bottle half empty, Ben?
Because I'm a pessimist.
Neil, please don't swear because my mom is watching. So.
Oh, fuck. I'm sorry.
Shout out to my mother who is also watching. Who I got a text from her. Mom, remember all those days in high school when I had to come home and they would smell my breath to see if I had alcohol in it? Well, look how the tables have turned. Let's pour the first one. And I'm going to guide you guys through this a little bit, but it's up to you. I'd like to hear your experience with the whiskey, what you're tasting, what you're smelling. Of course, the first one off the bat, 59.9% strength. This is pure cask strength. Sure. There's no filtering.
Javi, let's clink glasses. No, yeah, there.
The other way.
Ben, I can't quite. Seriously.
I can do both.
All right. Now, this is where I start to get nervous, Ben, because when we did this months ago, you have an amazing voice. That's almost like one of those ASMR people that like eat pickles when you wear headphones. It's like, oh, hello.
My soprano voice.
Yeah, what am I tasting now? But you came up with so many synonyms and interesting words. And Javi and I were like, yeah, it tastes smoky. Or this one tastes strong. And you were like, yes, but with hints of appleberry. And
tastes like whiskey.
Do you notice an undercurrent of it's almost like the underside of an 18-wheeler. Do you? And I was like, how do you? Where are you coming up?
It was a Ford F-150. So I mean, look, I
I'm
literally
nervous.
invited you on the show because I
Okay.
was impressed with what you guys brought to the table.
Fair. Okay.
Yeah, forget the pretense. Just be raw about it. You know what I mean? And just yeah. Again, when you do this a lot, it's easier to sort of find certain things. But the first whiskey, of course, this evening is always gonna be the hardest because it's the context for what's to come. So if you'd like some guidance in the first one, at some point I can jump in. But I'd like to just
Can I add some water to it?
Let's do this.
Or
Let's
do it straight away?
nose and taste just neat.
Taste.
And that's gonna be super strong. So don't feel that you have to drink more than a sip. Then we'll add some water. I mean, the way our tasting panel does it is they will take notes completely neat, really assess it, and then add water and see how it changes. Because when you add water, that's really when it's going to come to life, in my opinion.
It's hard to do this, if I'm being honest, and not giggle a little bit when the crawl underneath me says first fill sherry butt.
Yeah. So a butt is.
But then I sober up when it says 14 year.
It's not legal, you
know. The sherry butt. Oh my god, yeah.
That's a good drag name, by the way. Sherry butt.
Yeah.
Is it?
Oh, that's good.
Is that
sweet?
Is that the name?
Sweetness to it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
It's not at all smoky.
Yeah.
Nope.
It doesn't have that haka of the hardcore 67 proof types.
Mm-hmm. So is it sweet because the ex Oloroso barrels?
Yeah. So the first of all, the sherry butt. Sherry, is the type of wine from southern Spain.
Who's sherry?
Who is sherry? Well, I'm seeing comments that my ex-wife was sherry is a comment I just saw.
Sorry. I'm so sorry.
But you're getting
your ex-wife. I apologize, ma'am.
Neil, we have some people in the chat are getting mad credit for being here because their daughters are fans of yours from some of your previous work.
Not for long. Okay.
They're not 14-year-old sherry butts. No, sherry butt is a type of cask. And so basically this whiskey, actually distilled in Scotland, was aged in a cask that previously held sherry wine, presumably from Spain. This one in particular was actually double matured. It was from an American oak sherry cask that we transferred to a Spanish oak sherry cask. Different types of oak to create different layers of complexity and flavor. But it's very rich. This is like a very hearty style of Scotch whiskey. Not at all.
So the 14 years, it's not in the same barrel.
So this particular one, I believe, was 12 years in American oak sherry cask, and then 2 years in the Spanish oak sherry, Oloroso sherry. But Oloroso is a type of sherry. The intent there was just to make it even richer, and create more layers of flavor. So
Oloroso was great on The Apprentice. I thought she was less successful when she worked at the White House.
I'm going to take another one.
This is a sweet thing that I feel like I would drink on vacation. Like I'm angling towards names, right?
Yeah.
And it's 120 proof. That's what's crazy because it does not feel 120 proof. I mean,
it feels almost dessert winey.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the name. I'm coming up with something clever.
Well, keep going, Neil. Where would you be on vacation?
I feel like I would be like in a South American resort by, hold on.
Mm-hmm.
Thatched roof. Yeah, like a gravel, like a stone gravel sand, Okay, I think they have a good name.
Okay, so let's do this. So
I think I have a funny name.
Good.
I'm not going to tell you what it is yet, but
Let's try this. Let's add some water, because adding some water is going to reduce the alcohol and release, in my opinion, and amplify some of the flavors that are sort of locked in beneath it. So whichever vessel you have, I see Javier's pouring more whiskey into the glass as opposed to.
I almost finished it without adding water.
It's a fun hour for Javier Villegas. Get ready.
Hey, last time we named something was your Black Magic Margarita, so that was a fun night.
That's true. There's a margarita named after me at Epcot now.
I had it.
Like top shelf. Yeah. It was good, right?
It was really good. It's with creme de cassis, Leger creme de cassis, which is like the original ingredient.
It's called the Black Magic. And we went, and I got to go to Orlando and do a bunch of tastings of mezcal and different variations of juices, and we got so drunk that when my family arrived the next day to play at Disney, I was in a lot of trouble because I mean, both physically and like family. So this is better, even better this way.
We've finished, like, I don't know, it was like 2 a.m. or something, and 7 a.m. Neil texts me, "Do you know where my backpack is?"
Oh, that's right. I left my backpack with myself.
And then an hour after that, "Do you know where my jacket is?"
I don't remember that part. Moving on.
I'm getting some good inspiration in the chat. People throwing in their own take. Just hearing you share your experience. I won't share those now. I don't want to sort of influence what do you guys think. But by adding water, are you enjoying it more, or do you find it easier to sort of pull out some flavors?
So there's one thing I don't understand. Like a lot of these whiskey, Scotch, even bourbon. So you're encouraged to add some drops of water. So if the water makes it better, why isn't sold at that alcohol volume or at that percentage? I mean, like,
can I make a guess?
Yeah.
My guess is more personal preference. No, I would think that from what I understood, because I got to do a bit of a Scotch tasting when I was in Edinburgh last, and it was this amazing Scottish man who explained it all to us. Was hilarious in his like admonishment of everything, but in doing so, always he kept saying that there really are no rules, that everyone will tell you that there's these rules, but there are no rules. So some people like to drink it strong and straight. I like it strong and straight. And then some people like to like super watered down and on ice. And there is like, everyone has their strong opinion, but it's really whatever you enjoy the most.
No, and I completely agree. And it happens with tequila and mezcal there. I mean, even if you make a cocktail,
but no one ever wants to have mezcal or tequila with water.
No. So why whiskey? Yes.
It opens it up.
That's what I understand. Yeah. I know it does. But then why don't just make it that way the first time?
Well, that's interesting. Is it some sort of chemical reaction? The adding the water makes it makes the taste change? Is that part of it?
At the lifetime, like when you actually do it.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's more going on than just reducing the ratio of alcohol to water. But I'm not suggesting it makes it better at all. It just changes it. And so most whiskeys are bottled at a commercial bottling strength of like 40 to 43%. And that's pretty much ideal for the average consumer's palate. Once you sort of get into whiskey or any spirits, maybe it's natural to sort of lean towards stronger and stronger spirits. And so at cask strength, so what we're doing here is we're not watering them down or diluting rather before you get in the bottle. We're giving the person who's enjoying the whiskey the choice to enjoy it at their strength. Maybe, one day you had a rough day on a Monday, you want a whiskey at the end, you want something that's equivalent of 50%. You know what I mean? You don't have to pull a bottle off the shelf and taste it and say, this is kind of weak. And that, I think that's just a natural evolution of the palate when you really get into it. So this at least allows you to do it however the hell you want to do it and really tailor the experience to you. And I think some of these, I mean, maybe we'll think, wow, some of these are probably tasted better full strength, but some might come out. But generally, when you add some water and do reduce the strength, you'll unlock more flavors and aromas that were sort of masked by the alcohol. So for tasting, getting to know a whiskey, really assessing it, it's good to do this. But there really is no wrong way to drink a whiskey. And a lot of people like to tell you how to do or don't do things. And I just think they're just insecure and, have nothing better to do. So don't listen to them, everybody,
You like it better with water or without?
I think I like it better with water. But this is where, and I think I discussed it before, when we did it before, when you start at 100% strength, it does feel like by sip 3, my mouth is numb. I mean, I'm not taking big swills or anything, but it's just an explosion, and then it's like more, and then the umami element of top of palate and everything is just like satiated, right? So then when you add water, it feels like, oh, now I'm just like in a swimming pool.
Okay.
So I guess you can taste the different flavors, but I think better with water. Now, I didn't do like a dropper and do 6 or 7 drops. I did I'm at probably 2 to 1 now.
Yeah. 2
being the hooch.
Yeah. Some distillers, when actually making whiskey, will dilute down to, around 30%, which is so lower than you'd really want to enjoy the whiskey, but really to just get in there and extract there's some puns I'm sure here, but to extract all the flavors from it at that strength. So it's totally up to you. These are so strong that doing that, Neil, is probably appropriate. A couple of drops is probably not enough to really reduce the alcohol and the impact.
So you're saying I did it wrong?
No. Listen, the point is there is no wrong way, but just know that once you add water, you can't take it back. So if you go too far, you just have to pour more whiskey, which I saw you doing, Javi. Do you guys want to take a stab at coming up with a name, or do you want to start before just sharing a name? Just describe your overall impression, maybe one at a time, and then we can come up with it. Or if you'd like to throw some ideas out there, we won't hold you to it. We could come back after all 3 are done. And
now,
do you think that people online can help us? If we give some thoughts, we can see what the majority is, or is that not fair?
We can do it however you want. This is your naming session, guys. So if you have something on top of mind, you can do it. If we want to crowdsource some inspiration or ideas, let's just do that for now. To get some ideas flowing, if you'd like.
Also, can
No. I don't mean ideas from the comments. I mean, we say some of our faves, and then they not vote, but say yay to this one, and then we'll quickly say whether they hate it or they like it. Deal. Happen that fast.
Deal. There are no rules. So
also, can we cheat a little and you give us more background, maybe from what region this is? It's a highland, it's a lowland, or better to know nothing?
Yeah, I actually have it down here. I could tell you what I provided here is the same information that's provided, when the casts are named. So just putting we can put more information though, but the idea here is just to focus on the flavor, and that's really it.
Okay.
So
I would go with the name Samantha.
Samantha.
No, just kidding. That doesn't make any sense. It's just a proper name. Based on the 14-year and the sherry butt joke before, I was going to say barrelly legal. I'll give you a minute to think about that one.
Okay, so that was
really funny.
Let's do this one.
It's barrel, like the barrel that it's in, and then with a hyphen, barrelly legal. Look at the scroll.
Or barely illegal.
But then I actually tasted it, and I thought this tastes like fancy vacation.
Yeah.
That was my vibe. It's like, because sometimes you drink these, and I think often, in fact, when I do drink Scotch, on the rocks or neat. I'm wanting to be a poet or sit and have peat and moss and smoke and like sit in my thoughts. This feels more vacationing to me.
Mm-hmm.
But vacationing, like you're in a beach, or just vacation, no worries. For the rest of
Cask
your days?
Resort.
Cask Resort.
Oh, the junior suite at the Cask Resort. Hold on. If I had a mic, I would drop it right now. The junior suite at the Cask Resort. That's my vote.
That's your final answer.
Yeah. And I'm glad this bottle's here. Otherwise, it's just all crotchy shop. The way that this is lined up. Which
The junior suite.
Is that better? That's probably better.
Junior
I look the
suite.
same height as you, Javi.
Just get comfortable, you know.
I'm on my knees again.
You want
Okay.
to go lower, or
No.
Okay, let's see what the viewers think of that one. The junior
Cask
suite at the
Resort.
Cask.
Cask Resort is good. Resort is good, and cask is a play on words. I thought that was kind of pretty clever.
Yeah, Cask, like whiskey cask. CASK.
Yeah, Cask
Yeah.
Resort.
The junior suite at the Cask Resort.
I mean, the junior suite kind of muddies the joke, right? Because it's a play on last resort for those that are.
Yeah, I think that's brilliant. I know.
You want more of a descriptive, don't you, Ben? You want
No.
like
Why don't I real quick? I'll read you just real quick. Just I think
rolling
that
waves on the sand.
No. Okay, well, Neil, first of all, we had one that was called "I Like Big Butts," and that was a sherry butt. So we had that one. We've had. I'm looking here. Yeah, we have "I Love Big Butts." Here's one that we had recently. The most fun with your cloves on, because there was like a strong clove note in the. And
Nice.
So I saw that one. Creaking ships lost in the fog, enthralling pink and peat intensity, which is interesting. Railway track to a log cabin, in the dark at the abyss, driftwood barbecue. These are just some names. So yeah, I mean this is the personal experience that the person tasting these had. So the junior suite at the Cask Resort is a moneymaker. I mean, that's a great name.
Does junior suite make it feel like it's that was a joke on 14 years, but is it
No,
better if it's like the presidential suite at the Cask Resort?
Junior is fine.
Okay, well, the three whiskeys, it is the oldest one here, so it's the most senior, but it's still 14 years old. It's definitely a junior.
A private bungalow at the Cask Resort.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think
Waterfront suite. I don't know. I'm just digging.
I think you really had it there.
I wouldn't change it.
I think that's good. How about this? At the end, if you want to change it, by all means, go back. But junior suite at the Cask Resort.
I can't read any of the comments, and I'm super glad for that. So if they're uniformly, I'm an asshole, then will you just not tell me that?
No. Everyone's saying everyone's pretty into it. I mean, I gotta tell you. Jeff Walton, take my money. Okay, there you go. So Jeff said, take my money. Winner says Cody Little. Winner.
Okay.
Thanks,
Cody.
Yeah, the barely legal. I think people like the barely legal as well, but I think the junior suite at the Cask Resort is just.
Well, barely legal doesn't make sense if this one's the oldest of the three. We can save that one.
We can come back to
barely
find a younger one.
Barely legal, not the barrel-y, but just barely legal is a term. I mean, people refer to 3-year-old whiskeys as barely legal because legally a whiskey has to be 3 years old. So when you have a really young, people often say that it's barely legal, but man, I think it was spot on. So if you guys want to support that one, drop a comment. Otherwise, we can come back to it. Let's move on to this number 2 because I said we would do this in an hour, and we're still at the Cask Resort. We got to move on to
a barrel of monkeys.
A barrel of monkeys.
A barrel of drunk monkeys.
Then I do.
I kind of like Cask Resort. Okay. I think the simpler is like Cask Resort is kind of great because it's the single play on word, and it is the resort, which is essentially the vibe that I was vibing on. It feels like something you drink at a resort. Cask Resort.
This bottle's going to be on your shelf. You're going to be able to look at it someday. Well, not someday, but soon once we bottle it. So what do you want that to say? This is your decision.
Thursday, right?
Yeah.
Thursday, Friday.
Let's move on to number 2. So let me pull this one off. And by the way, this style, we have 2. this style that we have right here, the sherry cask, is really, really popular. Just in general.
Oh, good.
The sherry cask style is really popular. So, of course, we have another one. And then we have a smokier one that's not sherry cask to come up. But the next one is cask 900318. It's a 9-year-old from a first fill Oloroso sherry butts. 67.0%. This is one of the highest strength whiskeys I've ever seen come out of Scotland. I mean, legally, of course, this cask isn't bottled yet, and it might reduce just slightly by the time we do. But if you add a water to the first one, you'll probably want to add some to this.
Now, you think it's like the Olorosos and sherry? Do you think it's popular because of the sweetness?
I think I'm not just going off
sherry cask.
It's a very traditional style of Scotch whiskey, the sherry cask. I mean, most of it now is, over 70%, I want to say, is American oak. It's a lighter style. Now you have some peated whiskeys that are smoky in that, so they're intense. But I know the American palate. I mean, think of it, we have bourbon. That's our whiskey, and it's a very intense, very flavorful style. And this is sort of like that in a way. So I think it's the American palate's big on the big flavors. And we got a big one here. So go ahead, take a minute with this one.
So why is the color much darker on a 9-year-old than the 14-year-old?
So this one particularly, cask can be reused multiple times to age Scotch, and so with each use, the wine influence will be less and less because it's been absorbed into the previous batch. So this suggests that the wood is likely fresher. Hasn't been used as long. It still has that sort of inner lining intact, and a lot of that has gone in this color. So yeah, it is younger, but it's significantly more darker. And just to hold it up, just to show you guys what this looks like here.
So in Scotch, are there like rules like in bourbon that you can just use one time, like a barrel and stuff like that, or it's more?
Good night.
Well, first of all, Neil, you seem particularly triggered. Do you want to tell me what happened?
This is baller whiskey. This is much stronger than the last, which I started by saying, oh, it's so sweet and lovely. This is like, I need to add some water to this one.
Daniel Clarkson.
What do you think? Like, it's really strong. It's good,
yes. Though. No, it is
full
really
body,
strong. But still, 67. I mean, it is really strong, but I mean, you still swallow it and you don't feel like a burn or something. So it's amazing that still at 67,
you're 2 whiskeys in, dude. That was pretty pretty intense.
Yeah,
but it's still drinkable. It's not like
true. Yeah, it's good. It's not bad. Strong.
I got to the comments are pretty funny. I mean, I can share some of these, but the baller whiskey is sticking. By the way, that name is getting some some support.
Nice.
Yeah, this is the young one. 67% is wildly high. Definitely. I don't know. Maybe you taste a bit more oak influence. It's a bit woodier than the first one. It's definitely more intense and spicier. Just to throw that in.
More earthy, also.
Yeah.
It tastes more aggressive, if that's a taste, but there's not much subtlety.
Yeah. Well, aggression is definitely a trait of it. It is what it is. So.
But it does numb your tongue and mouth.
That's the roofie, Javier. Sorry, I should have told you.
That's what you said?
I think there is a brand of whiskey called Baller Whiskey, actually. I'm just reading some comments here, and I'm kind of reminded, I think that might actually be a thing. I got sherry in the butt ox, says Gregor.
Don't cask, don't tell.
You
This one's like, this feels like I'm mad. This feels like I've had a bad day. And I'm not saying this in like, this is bad, I wouldn't drink it. But this is like, oh, that deal didn't go like I thought it was going to go. And I sat there and my friggin' boss like berated me on Zoom. And I need to pour myself a drink, a heavy pour. I'm trying to think of phrases.
but that's a good thing. I mean,
Yeah, but it's
most-
that. It feels like that.
we-
It does
we-
not
we-
feel
we-
like hello. It's
Yeah.
time for us to have a sip and
You're-
discuss
Cask Resort.
literature from the 1920s.
you're not on vacation anymore.
You're not on vacation with this one.
It was a rough day. Maybe that's
It
the
was
thing.
a rough
So,
day. I don't know if
I-
that's going to sell too many bottles.
I should explain this, that so these 3 whiskeys will be released together in celebration of the Gathering 2022. So right now, this week, we're celebrating the Gathering. That's our big annual clubs, big annual festival on a global scale, where we just, of course, now we're in lockdown and not really, but we're not doing things in person at the moment. But it's we released 3 whiskeys this week for members in America, and these 3 will come together. So if there's a common theme that you see or are tasting, you can keep them together. Just keep in mind that they will be coming out. So if we're not on vacation anymore, you're at a cask resort, that's totally doable. It's your thing, but something to keep in mind.
This is like
The finger.
Yeah.
You call it the finger.
Feel free to
me
add water.
pour
Yeah.
me a middle finger of scotch.
Pour me a middle finger.
The middle finger of scotch.
Or if we knew where it was produced, we could actually like put Edinburgh's middle finger or whatever.
Oh, that's fun. But don't you say that? Isn't that a term? Like 2 fingers of scotch, or a finger of scotch? Is that a
2 fingers of whiskey is a common thing. Yeah.
middle finger of whiskey?
Yeah, you can do that. A middle finger. 1 finger salute, says Wyatt Hazy. Drinky Caveman says, I just live at the cask resort now.
Nice. Lies.
There's your social proofing right there. I mean, that one really stuck.
I mean, I know it's very mainstream, but going back to like it's been a rough day. I mean, something like Neil said.
Aggressive. What's an aggressive?
Yeah, you're not in vacation with this one. Yeah, I've been fired.
2 middle fingers of whiskey,
scotch.
says Kunal. Hey,
2
Kunal.
middle
That's good.
fingers of whiskey. That's
Yeah,
fun.
that's pretty good. Everybody's trying to support you here. Give me the bird, says Steve Balzac.
2 in the glass, 1 in the stink. That's probably for
2.
more for like a peaty one.
2 in the cask. I'm sure.
2 in the glass, 1 in the stink.
Gustavo Ortega says, my boss yells at me. You said that, Neil, and Javier goes, I know exactly right.
What should I have? What should I drink tonight? I'm gonna go for
Wait.
my boss. My boss yells at me.
Neil, you know who Gustavo is?
Yeah,
Creepy mustache.
yeah. Of course I know who Gustavo is. My boss
And,
yells at me.
I've never yelled at him.
Well, we're inviting Gustavo next time.
Maybe Neil yelled at him, but I did not.
I like 2 middle fingers of scotch.
2 middle fingers of scotch.
That makes it sound aggressive, but still like you want to drink it. Like you want 2 fingers of scotch. I worry that if I'm angling towards this is hardcore,
Yeah.
people are gonna like. I don't want to do something that's pejorative or derogatory, right? You don't want to be like, y'all can go fuck yourself.
Yeah, I don't know that the TTB would accept that.
Agreed,
Favorite one,
but
but we
like
can
you know,
kind
in that world.
Yeah, we should say all these will eventually have to sort of pass the TTB. I don't think some of the ones we're mentioning. Now that one might have a hard time getting that through. But the other ones I think are just fine. But
Two in the
we'll
glass,
see.
one in the stink. Fine for you. Good to know.
So Neil, probably Ben tomorrow will be like, okay, so number one is called whiskey number one. Number two, none of your names were approved.
Listen, you're naming these things right now. Someone's got to do the job. It's been a long cast day, says Justin. Christopher Hoskins says, take this job and shave it. Manuel Villegas says, no scotch is given.
Take this job and shove it? Shave it, did you say? That's a very interesting job.
Sorry. Yeah.
Take this job and shave it. I would like to work there, or at least go and sit at the edge of the stage.
Yeah. Okay. This stream is sponsored by Manscaped. It was take this job and shove it. Sorry, Christopher. Yeah. By the way, this is not sponsored by Manscaped. It's a virgin here.
Take this. You could take this scotch and shove it.
Let's take the scotch and shove it. Do you want to think about this one and come back to it? You don't have to finalize the name right now if you need to just even take a day. Like there's no rush to come up with this. But if you have it now, great.
I mean, the more you think I think it loses interest.
Yeah.
But we can go to the next one and come back.
Want to go to the next one? Okay.
Yep.
Let's do this, because I know, guys, when we were together the first time, you were both into this style, this third one that we have here. You both said, okay, this is speaking my language, which is...
I'm very horny for the peat.
Yeah, which is the peated one.
The mossy, the smoky.
There you go. So this is cask 161. Now, for everybody watching, if you're members of the society or even new to it, we have our own cask numbers. Once they've been named and bottled, these are just our own warehouse numbers. So just if you're getting confused, trying to crack the codes that we have, this is just the cask 161 in the warehouse. 11 years old, from a Richard hogshead, 62%. And that sounded good.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
What is it that you enjoy? I mean, about this style typically?
So, I like when things feel like they have a backstory, a complexity, like a depth of character. I like immersive theater to proscenium theater, right? I like being able to explore, and I like textural things. Yeah. I like when photos are sepia instead of, or matte finish. I like when things feel like they have had a life, that you found them in an attic and click, and you opened up this box and it's ephemera that you found from 2 generations ago, and that smell of the book and the feel of the delicacy of it all. So with scotches, I feel like with peat and moss and smoke, it doesn't feel new.
Yeah.
It feels like it has a life. And I think it's that peat and the moss is very sort of Sleep No More, which is an immersive theater show. It's like, oh, I can already smell this. It's fantastic.
In the bottle.
And I think it also relates to what Disney is. I mean, on Disney, we're always
100%.
We're always trying to tell a story. Like
100%.
Like it's so.
It's by Galaxy's Edge. And what Scott Trowbridge and the Imagineers did so well is that they didn't create a ride, like a new Six Flags ride that has 3 loops, that's super cool, that's shiny and new. They created a world that feels like it's been there forever. And the more you do and the more you go, then the more you unveil, the more levels you can appreciate. And I think those levels, like a good mole sauce, that pot has been there and that they never clean it out. They just add to it, and so it constantly is evolving. And I just think there's something kind of exciting about sitting and pouring a neat drink. Otherwise, I'm a proper mixologist. For me, I super enjoy the alchemy. It almost feels like a wizard, a magician that's mixing a 1/4 ounce of this and some of these bitters and a touch of
Like a
that, and then I'll
witch.
add some
Yeah.
egg white and I'll shake it all up and I'll double
Yeah.
strain it into a thing and I'll add a thing and I'll drizzle a thing, and it's delicious, and it wouldn't have tasted that way had you not done all of those things. But when you're pouring a neat Scotch, I still want to have that an experiential taste as opposed to just get me drunk. It's what, Javier, I really appreciate you for with teaching me about tequilas, because I get very frustrated when people drink tequila as a shot with a lime and salt because they're devastated by the taste. And I'm like, you wasted a shot of tequila, first of all. Second of all, you don't know how to drink it. You're not supposed to have any air in your system. You drink it and exhale, and then you can taste the caramels of it. And then when you get into mezcal and you go to Oaxaca and you see them actually making it, it is the peat of tequila, right? You can see them processing it. You can see that getting smashed and going into barrels, and it has this life. Then when you taste it, you can really honor
what you're drinking.
The experience of it all. So
I believe it's those both things. Like it's telling a story and also knowing what you're drinking.
It's what makes drinking Scotch and whiskey so exciting to me, because it's very, very nuanced.
So, Neil, I understand your husband's a pretty amazing chef. Is that right? I'm just curious. Does he take a similar approach to cooking? Does he try to capture
that's an
the
interesting
essence?
Question. He trained at Le Cordon Bleu, and then he went and staged, which is the last thing that you do when you're in school. You go to an amazing restaurant of your choosing. You write a letter and get approval. Often they go to Paris and study French cuisine, which is very small little squares of carrots and making everything super perfect and pretty. He went to New York, where we are now, and he was the first person that Mario Batali allowed into Babbo, which was his flagpole restaurant back in the day. And it was a very tiny kitchen, and he learned from the greats. Mario was the owner, but it was really the chefs that were working at the time in this very small kitchen. And so his specialty, it relates to what you asked me, his specialty is sort of that Northern Italian cuisine, which is less like baking and less rigid of it must be a 1/4 teaspoon that you level off and put into the thing and make sure it's not his is like taste it and go a little more of this and some of this, and why don't we add some of this, and then taste it.
Which is the best way to
So I think it's better. It is got an appreciation for how flavors combine. But before David, I ate it In-N-Out burger and taquito all the times, and that was it. And now I value a good meal, in a good restaurant more than most things. Yeah. My favorite thing in life, I shouldn't say that, that's declarative. One of my favorite things in life is to go to a great restaurant and not order and have them bring food that they're proud of. And not say, I don't like this, I don't like shellfish, and I like my steaks really well done because I don't like the red part. But just have them cook what they think is dope, and then they bring out 5-6 dishes and you don't even know what it is, and then they just present a thing and you're like, oh, you're proud of this. Yeah.
But unfortunately, you live in New York, but also in Florida, usually when you say that to a server, he'll just put the most expensive things.
Oh, that's stupid. Yeah. Well, that's the conversation. Then you have to talk to the manager or something.
Well, we'll have to. Listen, someday we'll have to go to Scotland because our club in Edinburgh, it was awarded best restaurant in Scotland. Maybe 2018, just a few years ago. Nice. But it's for members only. Members of the club, which you both are. But you basically go in and they will do that. They'll just course something out and they'll pair a whiskey with every single course.
Ah,
And just you can sit back and just have as many courses as you want. And
oh
it's
boy, this would change everything.
yeah.
I mean, having a bite of like a chicken and then a sip of this would totally change the entire flavor profile of what you're eating.
But
They get into it.
it's funny coming to my world, for example, like anyone that gets to the tequila bar, right? So there's two kind of questions. One is, what's your best tequila? And a lot of people do ask, what's your most expensive tequila?
Ballers.
So when they ask the best, I mean, it's still expensive, but we sell them $60 shot tequila. When they ask what's the most expensive, we have a $600 tequila. Which
$600 shot of tequila?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
How expensive is the bottle? Well, you don't have to answer that, but the bottle is marketed that expensive.
8,000. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, most of the price it's in the bottle because it's a Lalique. I mean, it's crystal, but the guests are not drinking that. You're not drinking the actual crystal from the bottle. So
you keep it, and then you bring it home, and you fill it with rocks or something.
with water.
So,
no, but my point was to like the Neil was saying, like if you ask a server, you don't always really get the right answer. Many times they're just trying to upsell.
That's true.
And
That's true. Yeah. That's a very good point. Meals are won and lost from the server. If you get a server, same like with blackjack dealers. If you're at Vegas and you have a blackjack dealer that doesn't care and they're just robot people that are just dealing, they don't care, leave. Yeah. But if you're at a blackjack table with a dealer that's cool, and here's my blackjack tip in Vegas, when you're playing, put another chip above where your cards are. This way, if you win, that's their tip. But if you win, they win double, right? So if you're playing $25, a green coin, and you put a $5 coin up top, they want you to win because then they win $10.
That's good.
But
that's
now
good.
You have the dealer like interested in your winning, and you don't feel like you're just this schmuck that's there.
Yeah,
and then taking their money.
Ben, here's the perfect example. We have margaritas going from $12 to $40. You want to know Neil's favorite, apart from his?
Yeah, where does his fit in that lineup? That's the first question. You don't have to answer.
It's a Fiesta Margarita from Chosa that is $12. Or I mean, like it's not the
best.
But that's what he likes, and then that's good.
There's a mixologist that taught me all that I know, which is not much, but a little bit about making drinks. His name is Jonathan Lind. He works at Crown Shy. He's the bar manager there in New York City. He's amazing, super nice guy, incredibly handsome, terribly straight. And he was gifted. David, my husband, gifted me 5 mixology lessons with him, so I got to learn about gins and tequilas, rums, whiskeys, and the 5th day was making our own stuff. And he always, at a good Mexican restaurant, will see if they have a frozen margarita. And that's one of his favorite drinks at a restaurant, because he says, what else you can always make a margarita. You can make a margarita in your living room, but a good frozen margarita, you never get those. So
that's true. That's true. Yeah.
Yeah. Have a frozen margarita. He's not prissy about it. Like, he can make an amazing cocktail. He worked at the Nomad. He's unbelievable. But where do you get a frozen margarita? Epcot. They have a Fiesta one. They have 3 different flavors. What are the 3 different flavors? Mango, strawberry,
and lime.
Yeah. And lime. And they layer them like this. Come on.
And then it's funny that the let's say better tequila we use for it, or more expensive, or you want to call it, doesn't taste as good. Like, it's funny how. And
this is so peaty and smoky and
that's
almost chocolate, but that's weird. I'm not gonna.
No, that's not weird. So I was just saying.
Yeah, but I don't want to say that. I don't want. I
Yeah,
feel
okay.
like a
Well, just
little
saying, if you're
desserty.
experiencing that, it's not uncommon. Chocolate tends to be a flavor that can come from roasting barley. Essentially, if
No, I'm getting like smoke and
smoke, yeah.
peat.
Smoke.
Like this is really good. This is my favorite above the three for sure. Did you
So
add water, Ben?
Yeah, have you ever wanted the water? I'll tell you, but
Yeah,
just
I
real
am.
quick, this is a peated whiskey. So
Okay.
peat is cut up from the earth, which is just contains dead vegetative matter, that has decayed over a period of time, a decade or two, or however long. And this is, I think, this was cool about Scotch is like this is where geology impacts flavor because not all peat is the same. So if you have peat on the rolling hills, the mainland, you'll have a peppery smoke, which is actually what this is. This is a mainland peated whiskey. If you have peat from the islands, like the island of Isla, you have dead shellfish and seaweed and brine and salt water, and when you burn these, totally different flavor. So this is a mainland peated whiskey. It's more of a bonfire, peppery type of smoke as opposed to sort of the medicinal coastal expression.
Agreed. This is good.
You like this one, yeah?
I like this one a lot.
So what do you think in terms of I would just call out we had this one whiskey and then it's like we just went into conversation. And I think that's what's great about a good whiskey. It's like you have a good one and then boom, the thoughts are flowing. But
no, I appreciate your question, which was, why do I like the peat?
Oh, right.
That's like a proper. It's like a proper answer because that's like I really feel strongly about the experience, and it speaks to what we all just talked about. Like having a frozen margarita is a unique experience, right? You can make a drink, but you can have an experience where you're experiencing something. That's what Epcot Center is. Like you go not to ride rides, but to have experiences. Experiential education is the way one should learn. But
Just
peat is
FYI, it has not been called Epcot Center for 15 years.
I know. I'm old, dude.
Wait, it hasn't? It's not?
It's Epcot. It's just
It's
Epcot.
Epcot. Well, listen,
what does Epcot stand for? Don't look at the comments. What does Epcot stand for? Javier, don't say. Let's see if Ben knows, and then let's see if someone in the comments knows.
The real meaning, not the Disney meaning, the real one.
Oh, every person.
So that's one word different.
Every person can orangutan too. I mean, that's.
My joke at Candlelight is I would say Epcot, or which stands for every parent can order tequila.
Listen, I get a lot of comments in the chat about this stream being sponsored by Manscaped and Disney. Just for the reference, I went.
Well, that's me in a nutshell. That's me in a nutshell. I'm completely hairless and love some Disney theme parks.
Well, listen, guys, if you're in Orlando, go there. When I first went there, this year, last year. Anyway, I was like, you think like, what's Disney World? It was amazing experience. So highly recommend. But let's kind of conclude with this whiskey. Just name what comes out. I mean, we can.
No, because you don't know the answer to the question. So I see how quickly you pivot.
Okay.
It's a trivia question.
I believed you with every parent can order tequila.
What does Epcot stand for? You think Epcot really stands for that?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
It stands for the experimental prototype community of tomorrow. That's what Walt Disney had before he died. He had this whole vision of a more than a theme park, of a whole place where people lived with concentric circles of roads that allowed traffic in certain ways. And now you go there and drink and ride test track.
He even created a whole celebration town. I don't know if you know that thing.
Come on, who are you talking to?
And animatronic.
Pete. This is all about the Pete. All about the Pete. No treble.
John Bourne says, I'm going to Disney just to visit Javier's bar. I gotta tell you, man, it's
you should. It's great.
You should. It really
and for an upcharge, which is so worth it, you can do the tequila tasting, the mezcal tasting.
Yeah.
They have a whole thing with it's like how many? 5?
Yeah, but it's
different.
fully booked till
really
December. Yeah.
Are you serious? I'm so proud of you. That's so great.
Wait, and you
Well,
that was when I was there this year. It was brand new. You were saying, "Hey, come check this out. We're just starting this." And
Yes,
right,
you did it
last
with
year?
Christina.
you get to eat oranges. They teach you how the proper way to drink tequila. If all of these people who like
Yeah,
Scotch, if you want to experience the tequila, you would not
Ben,
think that a Disney theme park would be the place to do it, and
Yeah.
yet
Ben,
This gentleman-
Ben tried some grasshoppers and
Yeah,
Grasshoppers.
Was it crickets? They're crickets, right? Or anyway, you got the
What's
murals
different?
on
I
the
don't know
wall.
what's
The murals on the
different.
wall that are like interact. The whole thing was just blew
all right,
me
let's come
away.
up with a name that has to do with Pete, because I gotta go to bed. I don't want to be wasted.
It's all about the pit to mainstream.
Clean shaven Pete.
Pete Rose.
Pete Rose.
Pete it. Just Pete it. Is Michael Jackson? That's too soon.
D. Mercer says, now you've got to name one Manscaping and Upcott.
Pete my meat.
Pete my meat. I like that it's edgy. I mean, in terms of
The legendary pit.
what is it?
I Pete my pants.
Pete Zing.
Be still my peating heart.
Oh.
Wait a second. How about this? How about this? Distill my peating heart. I gotta go. I'm out. I'm done.
So I like that one's pretty damn good. Okay. All right. Well, listen, guys. Are you fixed on that one? I thought we were. By the way, I thought these names were going to be in Spanish. That was the whole.
Distill my peating heart is pretty good because that means you love it, and it's a double play on words.
I think that's money.
Javier, in America, there's an expression, and it's called. It says, "Be still my beating heart."
Okay.
It may be a Shakespeare reference. I don't know. I'm not an actor.
What does it mean?
But it's instead of "be still my beating heart," it would be "distill my peating heart."
Okay.
And "distill my beating heart" means
Still.
I love it so much.
Yeah.
Distill my peating heart.
Oh, I thought it was a B still. So distill my PD heart. Even better.
Beating.
My peating. My peating.
Yeah.
Okay.
Distill my peating heart. Come on.
Come on.
I'm much better at this than I thought I was, and I've only had like 7 of these. So I'm.
Well, then
very
they're really strong, so they double that number because that's the equivalent. You know. All right. I think it's money. I love it. What do you guys think? Real quick.
They're all gonna like Pete my meat.
Oh, for Pete's sake.
Oh,
yeah, I
for
think
Pete's sake. No, that sounds like you don't like it. That's a good one though. For Pete's sake.
Yeah.
I think that was the name of one at one point. Winner.
Oh.
Scotch
Yeah, but it's also it's not a good thing.
So okay, just rewind all three we have. First one was called
Cask Resort.
but it was Junior Suite at the Cask Resort.
Yes.
Right?
That sounds so romantic. I love it. The Junior Suite at the Cask Resort.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Junior Suite at the Cask Resort. The second one, you were kind of I don't feel like you were sold on it. You had the
No, so go to the third one and then come back to the second one.
Okay, so the third one is Distill My Beating Heart.
Yeah.
And everybody seems to love that one. Go with it. That's what they're saying. Money sold. And then the middle one is it's the aggressive one.
Middle finger of Scotch,
Middle
or 2 middle fingers of Scotch.
Two middle
I think
fingers.
is better because middle finger just sounds like you're mad, but two fingers of Scotch is an expression, and 2 middle fingers of Scotch makes it sound like you're mad. Although I also kind of weirdly love My Boss Yelled at Me.
No, because then Gustavo is gonna get all the credit, and I don't want that.
Well, look at the reaction you have.
I've never yelled at him.
But that's weird. You don't want to honestly like 2 middle fingers of Scotch. It has a lot more, has a wider berth of like reasons to drink 2 middle fingers of Scotch. You could just be mad at your girl. You could be mad at your life right now. But my boss just yelled at me. It's like so.
This is, you guys, this is your pick. So don't think about what anybody thinks. What would you personally want to pull up your shelf, look at?
I think my favorite, and I feel like I'm bullying Javier, is 2 middle fingers of Scotch.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good.
Deal. You guys in it? 2 middle fingers of Scotch. Boom. Guys, first of all, we'll wrap up now. Thank you so much. This was hilarious. I really appreciate it. I'm pretty stoked for the name. What do you guys think in the chat? Just drop a quick comment as we depart here. Javier, Neil, I just want to
thanks for having us.
Yeah, for doing this. It was a lot of fun. This is the first time we've ever done this. Really, the naming goes to our tasting panel. I think bringing this out with new faces within the club is just amazing. That was a lot of fun.
Honored to be members. And my only regret is that you're making me tape the lids and send these back to you.
Yeah. Well, technically, you can't ship alcohol
to resell.
Yeah. That's exactly it. No, enjoy those. Full bottles will be coming your way once we bottle in. And for everybody else here in the U.S., if you're members, we will be releasing all 3 of these for the gathering in 2022. So you'll have a chance to get a bottle yourself. Stick around for just 1 second after we sign off. But to everybody, thanks for joining us. I should just mention tomorrow is the conclusion of the gathering. And we're streaming from 12 p.m. to 9 p.m. tomorrow. And I think I have like a really good idea, but
I want to see that 9 p.m. streaming.
Yeah, you said that. Yeah.
After 9 hours of this.
Well, it's gonna be.
It's a nap break in the middle.
No. Well, in the middle, I'm drinking 12 whiskeys in 1 hour. That's in the middle. So,
You're not.
and that I thought it was like we have 12 different flavor profiles for all our whiskeys, and I thought it'd be cool to just. We never did this before. I was like, let's taste one of every flavor profile in an hour just to fill that spot. And it sounded like a really good idea. And then I realized, it's at like 3 p.m. Anyway, come watch us fail miserably tomorrow. We'll have a lot of special guests. Our founder is tuning in from Scotland. We'll have Charlie McLean, the world-renowned whiskey writer. A lot of special guests from the Whiskey Tube community. Really, really stoked. So join us tomorrow if you guys are around. Love to see you. Thank you guys. Have a good night and cheers.
Peace.